Hello everyone, welcome to Computer Science 318, lecture number 5. Today we'll be talking about trees. Again, we are in the first chapter, in the first part of the class where we're just recapping what what you should already know. Okay, and my hope is that from 227 you already know everything about trees. But today we're just going to recap this information. Okay. Highly recommend reading chapter 1 of the textbook. It basically does the same thing, just recaps on the basic data structures. Okay, so what is a tree? Here's a good picture. Okay, so basically two binary trees. Here in the nodes we have numbers like 60, 55, 100, 57, 67, 45, 107. Okay, so it's a perfect example of a binary search tree. Here is the same thing, but instead of numbers we're comparing letters in the alphabet. A goes first, F is next, G is next, M is next, R, and then T. Okay, so what is a tree technically? It's a data structure. Okay, so again, graph is a data structure, tree is a data structure, stack is a data structure, queue is a data structure, with root value and subtrees of children with a parent node represented as a set of linked nodes. Okay, more specifically, we're mostly interested in binary trees. Okay, which is also a hierarchical data structure, which where which is either empty, okay, or consists of an element called the root and two distinct binary trees called the left subtree and the right subtree, okay, either both of which may be empty. So in other words, it's possible that you have something like this, okay, so that's going to be a binary tree, okay. It's possible that you have something like this, okay, so the right subtree is empty. That's also a valid binary tree. It's possible that you have something like this. In this case, that is um, that's also a binary tree. Okay, where you have only root and nothing else. And it's actually possible that you have something like this. So nothing, the whole thing is empty. Even the root is empty. Okay, so even the root doesn't exist. That's technically also a valid binary tree. Okay, which is null. Okay, so that is allowed. A binary tree is a hierarchical data structure. Okay, so let's put a dot here. It is either empty or consists of an element called the root. Okay, hope it makes sense. Next, the length of a path is the number of edges in the path. Okay, so the path is a sequence of edges, very similar to a graph. Okay, so let's say I have something like this. Let's say I have a binary tree like this. Okay, so if we draw a path between this node and this node, between the root and the leaf, we're going to see that the length of the path would be how many edges we have, right? 1, 2, 3. 3 edges. The depth of a node is the length of the path from the root to the node, okay? So in this case, it's the same thing. It's 3 because we started counting from the root, okay? The length of the path between this guy and this guy would be 2 because there are 2 edges, but the depth of this guy is 3, okay? The set of all nodes at a given depth is called a level. Okay, so if I have, let's say, another one here, and if let's say I have maybe boom, boom, okay, like this, okay, then all of these guys, okay, then all of these guys will be called a level. Okay, so these 3 leaves are located at the depth of 3, right? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so these nodes have the same depth. Okay, and that's why they'll be called a level. Siblings are the nodes that share the same parent. Okay, for example, this guy and this guy are siblings because they have the same parent. Okay, the root of a left or right subtree of a node is called the left or right child. Okay, so that should make sense. Okay, this guy is the right child of this one. This guy is the left child of this one. Okay, this guy is the right child of that one. Um, that guy is the left child of this one. Okay, a node without a parent a node without children is called a leaf. Okay, so here we have 3 leaves. Okay, they do not have any children. The height of a non-empty tree is the length of the path from the root to the furthest leaf. Okay, so in this case, the height of this tree is the height of this tree is 3 because the furthest leaf is located 3 edges away from the root. Okay, 1, 2, 3. If I add one more, let's say like this. Okay, then the furthest leaf is going to be this guy, and the height of the tree would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the height of a tree that contains a single node is 0. Okay, so if I remove everything, if I have only one node, the height of that tree would be 0. Okay, but at the same time, not really clear how to describe the height of the root, which height of the tree with no nodes at all. Okay, probably impossible to do that. Okay, but anyway, so if you want to calculate the depth, the height of the tree, you need to calculate the number of edges. Okay, so if you have only one node, which is the root, okay, you don't have any edges, that's why the height will be 0. Okay, but I think it should be simple. I hope it makes sense. A binary tree can be represented using a set of linked nodes. Okay, so it's possible again, as well as with any other data structure, you can represent it using 2 ways: nodes and array. Okay, it has pros and cons. Here, with binary trees specifically, almost no one's using arrays. Almost no one's using that, although you can still do it, unless maybe we're talking about a binary tree of integers, okay, or just some numbers. Maybe in that case you would use an array. But other than that, no one's using it. Anyway, each node contains a value and 2 links named left and right, okay, that reference the left and right child respectively. So you have a root here, which is 60, okay. Left node, okay, is pointing, so it's a reference, a memory address where 55 is located, where this node is located. Okay, 55 that left goes to here, to this part of the memory, and so on and so forth. How to create it in in code. So let's say you have a Java code. Okay, here we're using generics. So class tree node. Okay, we're talking about just one node here. Element E. Okay, and then a tree node left, tree node right. Okay, again using generics. Whatever E is, right? Okay, and next, what can we? Well, here I guess we're talking about binary search tree. Okay, binary search tree. So the rule is that you take any node like this. Okay, you draw a vertical line. Okay, everything which is in the entire tree. Okay, so it's not really about the parent or child or children. Just like cross the draw a line like that. Everything on the left has to be lower than 55. Everything on the right has to be greater than 55. Okay, greater than the one which you crossed. And that should be true for each one of those nodes. Okay. So for example, again, let's do the same thing for 67. Okay, I draw a line through 67. Everything on the left in the entire tree over here has to be less than 67. Everything on the right has to be greater than 67. A huge question with what if it's equal to 67? Okay, so are we going to allow the duplicates? Okay, so that's a huge question, huge dilemma. As of right now, we're going to assume that there will be no duplicates. Okay. Or like duplicates are not allowed. Okay, so that has to be actually like spelled out separately. What do we do with the duplicates? So for now, we're going to assume that the duplicates in our binary trees are not going to be allowed at all. Okay, so if let's say I'm going to insert 60 here, then that should not be allowed at all. Okay, it should return error. Okay, how to search, right? How to search. So I'm looking at this tree. Okay, let's say I want to search for 107. Okay, let's say that exists, or like let's say you do not know if it exists or not. What do? You only have access to the root right at the beginning. You compare 107 to 60. Okay, and again you draw that line. You go to the right. You compare 107 to 100. Draw that line. Go to the right. Okay, and at some point you either get into the leaf. Okay, and you get into the null, or you just find in that 107. Okay. So while current is not equal to null, okay, you either going left or going right, okay, and if element is equal to the current net element, then you found that you return true. Okay, if you got out of the while loop, okay, which means current is equal to null, then you return false, which means nothing is there. Hope it makes sense. Okay, how do you insert an element? Okay, so let's imagine again I have a root tree like that. I want to insert, I don't know, 200. Well, let's speak like 70. Okay, so again I start from the root, always start from the top, compare 60 to 70. Okay, 70 has to go, let me draw lines. Okay, so I start here, right? um, 70 is greater than 60, so that means at the end of the day 70, well first 70 has to be somewhere on the right, so I'll go from 60 to the right. Okay, then I compare 70 to 100. I know that 70 is less, so I'll go to the left. I compare 67 to 70. I go to the right because 70 is greater. Okay, and then I found that I reached null. Okay, and then I just need to make a connection between 67 and 70 here. Okay, which means whenever you insert an element, that element always becomes a leaf. That's the rule. Okay, the most important rule. The element always becomes a leaf. Hope it makes sense. Okay, how to do it in code. Okay, insert. If the tree is empty, then you just do it right there. Okay. Otherwise, what do? You start from the root. Okay, and then again you just go left, right, left, right, left, right. Okay, using this. Okay, and then um, if we run into duplicate, then we return false. Okay, so here like boolean, right? So we return a boolean. We return true if we did it with success. If we have inserted successfully, we return false otherwise. Okay, so again we just jump in between left, right, and then we find the right place. Okay, and then we return true if element is inserted, return false otherwise. Tree traversals. Okay, so there are multiple ways how, if you look at the tree, right? So back in the day when we were talking about arrays, simple as data structures, everything was a lot easier. So that's my array, right? I have the first element, second element, third element. Okay, so if I want to print something out, I of course know what to do, just go from left to right, right? Like this. Okay, everything was simple. Here though, when it's hierarchical data structure, right, so it's kind of like 2D, okay, so 2 dimensions. It's not really clear how to print it out. Okay, maybe I should print out, I don't know, print out like this, first level, second level, third level, okay, that's allowed, right? Or maybe I should go like this first, like to the depth, okay, and then come back over here, then over here, okay, like this. Okay, so it's not really clear which one is best, right? And that's why there are multiple ways of doing it. Okay, so traversal is the process of visiting each node in the tree exactly once, and usually printing it out, okay, or doing something with it. There are several ways to traverse a tree: depth first and breadth first search, well, traversals. Okay, depth first can be split into in order, post order, pre order. Okay, so again, we're talking about depth first and breadth first. In the depth first, what do we do? Again, we care about the depth. Okay, so well, let's talk about breadth first. How do you do breadth first? You focus. Well, you always start on the root, right? You always focus on that. Okay, and you just print everything out level by level. So you print out this guy first, then print out all the elements which are one edge away from the root, then 2 edges away from the root, then 3 edges away from the root, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's called to be that's a classic example of breadth first search. Breadth. Okay, so we care about the breadth. When we talk about the depth first, okay, we care about the depth, so we go deep. Okay, so like over here at 55, we don't go to 100. Okay, we go deeper from 55. We'll go to 45, Then from 45 again, we don't go to 57, we go deeper into 45 if there is something, right? And then at some point we're going to come back, okay? So just from 60 we're going to get to the deepest level possible and then come back and then print out everything else, okay? So again, just not caring about the depth, caring about the depth versus the breadth. Okay. With Inorder Traversal, the left subtree of the current node is visited first, okay, and the key part is that recursively, right? Recursively. Then the current node, and then finally the right subtree of the current node recursively. Okay, so the formula is this: Inorder Traversal, we do left, current, right. Left, current, right. That's when we do in order. With post order, we do left, right, current. Okay. The way I memorize it is, well, in order. Okay, so just if I look at something like this, right? So left, left, current, right, right. So if current is 60, right? If we're talking about the root, then the left will be 55, then current, then right. Okay, so that's in order. Okay, net in, which means we're going to print out those numbers in natural order: 55, 60, 100. Okay, sorry. Next, in post order, basically saying it's kind of like similar to saying that I'm altruistic. I care about myself last. Okay, I print out the left child first. Okay, so I care about my children. I print out the left child first, and then right child, then myself. Okay, so again, I'm 60. I don't care about myself. Left, right, and then myself. That's post order. Pre order is the opposite. I care about myself first. Okay, I'm selfish. Current, left, right. So which means I'm going to print out 60, 55, 100. Okay, here's an example. So let's imagine we have a tree like that. Okay, and we want to do in order, post order, pre order. Okay, so again, in order. So each one of those moves is done recursively, right? So in order, what's the formula for in order? Left, current, right, right? So in case of A, we first print out B, then A, then C, right? But since it's done recursively, when we want to print out B, okay, we do the same thing. We do D, B, E. But since that's done recursively, when we print out D, we also don't print out D itself. We go to F first, and then D, then G. Okay, and then when we get to F, we realize that there are no children. So actually, in reality, F is going to be printed out first, then D, then G. Okay, then B, L, E, A, R, C, S. That's in order. Post order, what do we do there? Again, left, right, ourselves. Okay, so we are altruistic. Okay, left, right, ourselves. So in this case, we're going to go here. Okay, so F, G, D. Okay, and then in terms of B, we printed out the left one. Now it's time for the right one. L, nothing here, E, B. Okay, so in terms of A, we printed the left one. Now go to the right. Which means R, S, C, and then A. Okay, so that's post order. Now pre-order, okay. Again, so what's the formula? Current, left, right. Okay, so I'm selfish. Printing out myself first, and then left, and then right. Which means here we first are going to print out A, then B, then D, then F, then G. Then for B, what did we do? We print out B, left, and then right. Okay, so E, L. Then for A, what do we do? Print it out itself, the whole left win. Okay, then we go to print out C, R, S. Okay. Here's the answers. Okay, and so here's what I want you to do. I want you to create two classes, node and binary search tree of integers. Okay, so basically like this, but specifically for integers, and it has to be binary search tree, and create all of these methods. And I'm going to ask you to recreate them on quiz. Okay, I'll be asking you some questions based on the theory. Of course, I want you to know the definitions. That's actually extremely important to know for the job interview. They'll be asking you, what is a tree? What is a binary search tree? Okay, and I'll ask you to do something like that on the quiz. Hope you guys enjoyed this class. Again, please, so like again, if I was teaching in person, I would just ask you to do that right in class. Okay, but unfortunately I'm sick, so I'm doing it online. Okay, what's amazing, by the way, what's amazing about that is, um, about binary search tree is that post order, in order, and pre order is basically like 3 lines of code, and it's just they're very similar to each other. Okay, so if you because you do recursively, right? Um, yeah, so it's pretty amazing how that's done. Okay, and search and insert I already showed you kind of almost all the code. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll see you guys later. See you on Thursday. Bye bye.